Absolutely despicable. Despicable! This is a clip that Trump recently retweeted to garner a cheap laugh and score a few political points by exploiting children. Children! Specifically, a beautiful, transracial friendship between two young boys. But the thing that really angers me about this bigoted, right-wing propaganda is that it is extremely funny. Even me, a lifelong, hardcore progressive, was laughing my ass off until I realized that if it had me laughing, then it must be a highly effective piece of political propaganda which must be immediately denounced. Luckily, our progressive allies in the media and the tech industry are already on the case. Here's my man, Jim Acosta, virtue signaling and grilling Trump's press secretary with gotcha questions as he pretends he didn't laugh his ass off as well.
The president tweeted out some fake videos, one of which was labeled manipulated media by Twitter. It seems as though he's exploiting children to make some sort of crass political point.
He was making a point about the Covington boys being students in MAGA gear harassing a Native American elder.
As you know, the president has described members of the press as fake news during the course of this administration. When you share fake videos like that, doesn't that make you fake news?
That was quite funny if you go and actually watch the video. Trump slams some illegal immigrants, they're animals, who regularly mutilate people in this country.
The president has referred to some Mexican immigrants as rapists. He has tried to pass a Muslim ban in this country. He has described black NFL players as sons of bitches.
It's beautiful what's happening in the streets. There is music. People are hugging. We celebrate historic African-American unemployment. Peter Alexander.
Let me ask if I can, Kaylee, why does the president keep hiring people who are dumb as a rock, overrated, way over their heads, wacko, and incompetent?
Obviously, I have highly edited her responses to these gotcha questions, as the actual responses would completely undermine CNN's disinformation campaign. And because I need to keep this channel a safe space for my progressive audience who are easily prone to being triggered by conservative counter-arguments. Twitter, our leading soldier in the fight against conservative speech, took things a step further and permanently banned the creator of this trans-racist meme from their platform. Just like we do with any moderate conservative who gets too popular and whose message begins to resonate with the general population, they get cancelled. But the real problem us progressives are now faced with is how conservatives are trying to cut in on our action. Exploiting children for political gain has always been a cornerstone of the Democratic left. For decades, we have slipped subtle and oftentimes blatant left-wing messaging into children's shows and movies. For decades, we have infiltrated the education system to shove our liberal values down their tiny little throats. And in more modern times, we use our social media platforms to indoctrinate our youth and create future voters for the Democratic Socialist Party. YouTube, in particular, has really stepped up their game and taken advantage of the China virus lockdown to release their very own online educational series called Celebrity Substitute, where they team up a liberal teacher with a liberal celebrity to provide our children with blatantly biased, left-wing propaganda disguised as education. Here are a few highlights from my favorite episode featuring Janelle Monáe about the Electoral College.
Did you know that fewer than 600 people actually get to vote for president? Hey everyone, I'm Kat Shea, my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I teach history in Los Angeles. We have a celebrity substitute, Janelle Monáe. Hi, Kat. Hey, I think that we share a lot of really good values.
And if it's okay with you, Kat, I'm going to take over your lesson on the Electoral College. So, why has basically no one ever actually voted for president? In a representative democracy, you don't vote on things directly. Instead, you vote for a person, your representative, who you trust to make those votes for you.
Tastes like freedom. Corey. Hey! The person who is substituting with me is Janelle Monáe.
Wait, really? Hi.
But we still haven't answered why fewer than 600 people actually get to vote for the president. The higher a state's population, the more electors they are assigned. Even if you only win a slim majority of the popular vote in a state, you usually win all of that state's electoral votes. That's why sometimes a candidate can win fewer people's vote across the country, but still be elected president.
Whether or not this is a fair system, or whether or not we wanted Donald Taffy, is one of the great political debates of our time.
Beautiful. If only all educators provided such enlightening and stimulating left-leaning education to our youth. Of course, our conservative detractors will cry foul. They will say the lesson was one-sided and didn't list a single advantage the Electoral College system provides. And they would be wrong. At approximately 8 minutes and 30 seconds into the 10-minute lesson, Miss Monáe slips in this short line to balance everything out.
But if it was just a popular vote, candidates could cater to only the places with the most people living in it, and the issues facing smaller and more rural communities might get overlooked.
Nice. And in a very wise decision, she deliberately chooses not to elaborate on that statement. She purposely fails to mention that the sole purpose of the Electoral College is to prevent the large states from continuously outvoting the smaller states. She fails to mention how the Electoral College provides a fairer system by ensuring that the smaller states get some say over who governs them. She fails to mention how the United States wouldn't even exist without the Electoral College system because the smaller states never would have joined in the first place if it meant that they had no say in who their leader would be and were perpetually ruled over by the larger states. She fails to mention any of these things because they directly contradict our liberal ideals and values. The Electoral College system is rooted in democratic philosophy as it protects the minority over the majority. It is a system which us liberals fully supported for nearly 200 years, as we considered it a check against mob rule. But that's the great thing about being on the progressive left. When the system doesn't work to our advantage, we simply throw our ideals out the window and advocate for a new system. And since the Electoral College didn't work to our advantage in the last election, then, well, it simply needs to go, even if it results in civil war and the total destruction of the United States. And that's all I got to say. This is Chingron, signing out. If you enjoyed this episode, then please like and subscribe. And until next time.